Welcome to a sports betting podcast from pregame.com for the week of December 31st, 2009. I'm your host, RJ Bell. I'm joined by Marco D'Angelo, 30 years in the business, Vegas runner, genuine professional bettor here in Las Vegas, and star of the CNBC special on gambling. This is segment 2 of 6, big game preview, Cincinnati, Florida. Vegas runner, you are a line move expert. Tell us about the line in this game.
Okay, Florida. Oh, this one's at the New Orleans Superdome. It's the Sugar Bowl. Florida opened a 10.5 point favorite with a total of 55.5. Florida is now up to 12.5, and the total's 57.
Okay, so there's 3 reasons a line can move early. We usually talk about 2, but there's a third. One is the wise guys really like it because they're doing most of the betting early. Number 2 is they're positioning themselves for a buyback later. But number 3 is some external event, like an injury or like a coaching change in bowl games, can affect the true handicap on the game. When you look at this line move, what do you see the cause being?
I don't think it's the wise guys getting ahead of the market because I think the public's going to come in balanced in this game. I think the books are going to get balanced action because you're looking at an undefeated Cincinnati team getting almost 2 touchdowns. I don't think they're going to get as one-sided with Florida money as people think.
All right, so if you don't think it's getting ahead of the public move, is it a true position or is it the Cincinnati coach? I know that with Florida, with the whole machinations or back and forth with Urban Meyer, the line really didn't move. It moved about a half a point up, and then that's about it. So most of this move came before all that. And is it about the Cincinnati coach leaving, or is it about a true position?
I think it's a true position. I think it's the wise guys back in the Florida side. I think they, showing all season, they took the Florida side a lot. So I think they really believe that even the odds makers don't give Florida as much credit at the betting window as they should. And I mean, for the season, they're 6-6 against the spread, so the odds makers did pretty good considering they're a 12-1 team straight up.
And this kind of analysis of breaking down the line moves is what you do at pregame blogs, where you actually break down. You're doing daily for basketball
every day
now.
for NBA and college ball.
Your football is like 60-something. What's
yeah,
your football?
Over the last 2 months, the football is 75%, and for the season, it's at 70% for the whole season.
And you gave it all away for
free. Yeah.
Now remember, if you hear people talk 70% long-term, it's just a blatant lie. The goal is 55 to 57% based upon volume. If you're high volume, 55, low volume, 57. But when you do hit 57, you can go on streaks that are 70% over the short term, which is pretty amazing. Okay, Marco, what jumps out at you about this game as a handicapper? Now, actually, VR, you've got your free pick on this game.
Yes, I do.
All right.
To me, it's no question. The situation with Kelly leaving for Notre Dame, this is bad for this team. This is a team that's an undefeated team that is, on the brink of, history for the program.
Exactly.
I mean, and he abandoned ship. And what I hate about these coaches, they all do it the whole time through the last 2 weeks of the season when all the speculation was going on. He's given, lip service. I'm not taking it. I'm not, I'm not interested. I'm not, I'm
not
here.
In the conversation.
In the minute that they fire Weiss, a couple days later, he takes the job.
All right. So which that's kind of water cooler talk radio crap. But the fact of the matter is, there's team dissension right here.
Absolutely.
Is there's players speaking out saying, why aren't you with it? So it doesn't seem like a smooth transition.
Yeah, especially since coming in, this team had a lot to prove because they're undefeated, and they have an argument to say, should we even be playing in a bigger bowl game than we're playing? And by beating Florida straight up, they'd have a legitimate argument because only Alabama was able to do it.
Now, one of the things Marco talks about a lot is disappointments affect teams negatively, that when you have your ultimate disappointment in a season, the next game's always the worst game. When I look at this team, it ended up that they would have played in the national championship game if Texas would have lost on that end, that close end at the end of that game against Nebraska. So it's not only, we should have been in the national championship game. We could have. We were 1 second from it, which that with the disruption of the coach, and you can't forget, coaching disruption in bowl games is a huge negative. Now, that negative can be mitigated if the next coach is coming from within the staff, because then it feels like a smooth transition. The players are still accountable to those coaches. Right now, they don't know who's going to be there. I have friends at Kansas University, and I can tell you, if they were playing in a bowl game, it would have been very disruptive. Those coaches are looking for jobs right now. Those kids are thinking, why do I listen to this guy? So, with the Cincinnati transition, it's coming from the outside. I think it's a huge negative.
It is.
Give us your pick on the game.
I really like the under in this game. And I think if you sit back, you're going to let the public money drive this line up to close to 60 before game time. Because what they're going to see is this Cincinnati offense could put up points, and we all know Florida puts up points. But I think in this game, it's going to get done with defense. And surprisingly, that's what Florida's done it with. They're third in points allowed in all of college football. So this team has only allowed one team to score more than 20 points on them. That was Alabama, who beat them in the SEC championship game. Other than that, no one's been able to score. Cincinnati, on the flip side, they've won by scoring. But against this Florida team, you're not going to be able to do that. More importantly, they've done it through the air. Having a couple weeks off, I think, disrupts that a little bit. Your offense, when you're used to just getting it done,
Did Cincinnati play in that very? They
played Pitt, and they had that
very last weekend.
That monster comeback.
One of the
21
things
down.
we were reading in Chad Millman's column that the odds makers look at is how long since the last game,
right?
Because it affects the offense more. So that's not ideal that Cincinnati played in the last game. Now here's my in the last week of the season. Here's my question. The old adage is defense is about effort, offense not so much. If a team isn't trying as hard, they're usually going to get beat on the defensive side. The Cincinnati, we've already decided there's going to be questionable motivation here. Coaching disruption, could have been a national championship game. This Florida may be the team that's most unmotivated, it would seem. I mean, this seems very analogous to Alabama in the Sugar Bowl last year when they got beat and got embarrassed. They were one game away from 3 national titles in 4 years, or at least playing for 3 national titles in 4 years. Tebow stayed for that. They had one goal in mind.
That's it.
Is this team really motivated? And if not, doesn't it affect them on defense?
I think they're motivated defensively because they allowed Alabama to score 32 on them. That's one of the angles that I was looking at too. Will the defense be motivated to stop anybody? And I think on the Florida side they will, because they allowed that many points up to Alabama. They have a reason to show up.
I would agree with you 100% that this was going to be a flat spot for Florida until last weekend, when Urban Meyer announced that he had health problems and that he was going to
the leave of absence. And then the next day they had practice, and he changed his mind after that practice. This team is a close-knit team. His bond between him and Tebow, if you remember back to the end of the season, whenever they were doing the Florida State, the last home game, and he did his press conference that week, Urban Meyer actually cried in his press conference thinking about Tebow leaving, and the player that he had. This team's close-knit. They want to win this game for him. And that eliminates that motivation.
That's going to be very interesting, because you make a good point, and it's really like two extreme cases where on one hand, hugely disappointing result in the prior game, demotivated. On the other hand, we've got this Urban Meyer thing, which I think him coming back probably does motivate them, or at least making it just a leave. So I'm going to be very interested to see where the motivation is.
Me too. I can't wait to watch this game.
Because it's really it's two real intense factors pulling against each other here. All right, official free pick on the under. We talked about it. You've won 11 and lost 2 and tied and pushed 1 recently right here. So your official free picks are pretty serious. Now, Marco, you already gave yours. You gave yours. I'm giving mine in the 6th segment, so you guys got a little bit to wait. Next up is going to be segment 3, in which we talk Mississippi, Oklahoma State. And remember, you can get all of our videos at pregame.tv, or if you want to download and listen, just go to iTunes and search for pregame.com.